Hello, this is Frank Falvey with Frank's Musings. Uh, the Secretary of State has sent this out. It has 3 of the 4 ballot questions on it, and it also has information that you ought to read about voting and some of the laws and information around voting. I would like to talk about briefly the ballot questions. Ballot question 1 is a question on whether those making more than $1 million on their reported state income tax shall pay 4% more in taxes. And to read you the full text of the amendment to the Constitution, I will read it. Full text of amendment. Article 44 of the Massachusetts Constitution is hereby amended by adding the following paragraph at the end therefore. To provide the resources for quality public education in affordable public colleges and universities, and for the repair and maintenance of roads, bridges, and public transportation. All revenues received in accordance with this paragraph shall be expended, subject to appropriation only for those purposes. In addition to the taxes on income otherwise authorized under this article, there shall be an additional tax of 4% on that portion of annual taxable income in excess of $1 million, reported on any return related to those taxes. To ensure that this additional tax continues to apply only to the Commonwealth's highest income taxpayers, this $1 million income level shall be adjusted by the same method used for federal income tax purposes. This paragraph shall apply to all tax years beginning on or after January 1st, 2023. Well, in reading that, first of all, I'm very much in favor of this amendment. I would have preferred a graduated income tax, but adding 4% to those making over $1 million seems to be very reasonable and fair in my opinion. The tax would apply not only to wages, but as I read the article, the tax would apply to any capital gains. In other words, if you are a farmer and you own farmland and you decide to sell that farmland to build houses on it, then when you add what you paid for the land or additions to the property together, and you say that equals $500,000. And if you sell it for $1.5 million, you're going to pay the normal taxes that anyone would pay because you have a $500,000 tax and you only sold it for less than $1 million. Your net proceeds are only less than $1 million. But if you sell it for $3.5 million, then the 500 is deducted. The first $1 million is ordinary taxes, and then anything above that will be taxed at the 4% level. The same goes with any other capital gains, which would apply to stock, it would apply to art, it would apply to many areas that you report on your state income tax as income. So anything on your state tax return that is higher than $1 million in 1 year, that portion will be taxed at 4% higher. The article does seem very concrete. And let me reread this. That it can only be used to provide the resources for quality public education, affordable colleges and universities, and for repair and maintenance of roads, bridges, and public transportation. All revenues received in accordance with this program shall be expended for that purpose. So I have no question in my mind that yes, that money will be expended for those purposes. But, you know, when people explain things, they tend not to give the whole explanation or the whole background of what's going on here. One of the things that could happen is right now, the legislature and the governor have a budget for public education, for repairs in roads and bridges, for colleges and universities. Right now, they are spending X amount of money for those purposes. Nothing in this new legislation prevents them from reducing that amount of money and that amount of money being spent or reallocated for other purposes. So when you read things, you need to also understand that yes, this money will be allocated for that purposes, but you do need to be careful in understanding that the money that is already being spent for those purposes could be reallocated. Now, I am a favor of passing this article because the wealthy are really not paying their fair share. And, you know, whether you believe they had God-given talents, that they were able to earn all this money, or that this money came to them through an inheritance, they are very well situated. And those that have received greatly should be paying their fair share. You know, we're getting back money because income rose so high in 2021, I gather was the year, that a law that was passed, I don't know, 1986, that stated that if the income rose higher than inflation or something, then there would be a fair appropriation of money back to those that pay taxes. But how we're doing it is we're giving the wealthy the same percentage, but because they paid the most taxes, they're getting the most money back. But there has been no discussion, no study that I'm aware of, that actually it was the wealthy that actually reported more income. It could have been, and very likely was, the fact that those on the lower income scale, their earnings were so much higher than 2020, and that their earnings on the lower, below $50,000 or $75,000 were so much higher that is the reason that we are getting a refund. And the law didn't state that. I mean, the law didn't say we should be automatically refunded based on how much we paid in taxes. the law seemed to me to state that the refund should be based really on a fair apportionment of why and why people made more money that kicked in this law. They should receive the higher amount of income, and so we should apportion back the taxes in a different way, in a way that would recognize who paid the higher taxes in the sense of making more money. Well, question 2 seems to be a fairly cut and dried question. Apparently one dental company, and I haven't heard any reports of other dental insurance companies, but one dental insurance company only paid 17% of their premiums for actual dental services, and 83% went to a higher parent company. Now that company apparently was a nonprofit insurance company that then sent the higher 83% of the money that they made to a parent company. So question 2 seems to be, do you want the dental insurance unregulated so that companies like the one that I just mentioned would continue to pay most of their premiums to either themselves or to a parent company? Question 3, I would kind of refer you to the program that Mark Lindsay and I did on ballot question number 3. But since we've done that program, I would like to read from the Franklin Observer a article that was written. Vote yes on question 3 this November 8th. Only a few weeks ago, the State House News Service was commenting on the lack of opposition to compromise ballot questions worked out by the state's package store industry and other purveyors in the market. Local liquor store operators like Mark Lindsay and Franklin Liquors favor the message, and it seems like voters would take their cue and vote yes. However, as of last week, according to the Massachusetts list, which also covers the state political scene, all that has changed. A large out-of-state liquor distributor, Total Wine and More, the big box alcohol retailer headquartered in Maryland, has muscled in with glitzy TV ads that make it sound like they are all for small local businesses rather than the opposite, and advocate a no vote. So Lindsay took to Twitter to urge voters to look at an exploratory vote yes video. In addition, the local Massachusetts Package Store Association offered the following summary of their views. Question number 3 was filed by local-owned stores across the state of Massachusetts. Question number 3 expands convenience while also improving public safety. It also restores balance to an industry that has been upsurted and undermined by large corporate interests seeking marketplace control of alcohol retail. Why vote yes on question 3? Vote yes for consumer convenience by progressively increasing the number of allowed beer and wine licenses from 9 to 18, minus any full liquor license owned. The number of full liquor licenses will be set at 7, which would be the most allowed in a 3-tier state. Vote yes to improve public safety by prohibiting self-checkout of alcohol beverages and making a a fine for selling to a minor applicable to gross sales and not just for alcohol beverages. Vote yes to promote state tourism by allowing for valid out-of-state IDs to be relied upon by a retailer. Massachusetts is the only state in the United States that does not permit an alcohol beverage retailer to reasonably rely on valid out-of-state IDs. So on question number 3, even if you see ads on TV to vote against it, saying that it's good for the small businesses, it's not. Small alcohol stores are recommending and strongly encourage you to vote yes on question number 3. Ballot question number 4 was not included in this book because of a timing issue. I don't have a copy of ballot question number 4. Hopefully I will get it and be able to report on it in more detail. But my sense is that people that are here in the United States, maybe the government has given them permission to be here, but they are crossed the border and came into this country illegally. The government may have recognized that there is a court proceeding that they have to go through to determine whether they should stay here. And so the contention is that many of them are driving cars, are getting in accidents, and they are in an uninsured vehicle. Well, you know, it's smart to take out at a very low cost automobile insurance against uninsured vehicles, because not all states require insurance. So you could be in an accident with another vehicle out of state that would have no insurance coverage. They say that to permit these people to go through the normal process of getting a license would put safer drivers on the road. I really don't buy the whole question, and I am concerned with how efficient that the state of Massachusetts will be in not having some of these people that are giving a driver's license be able to get on the voter registration rolls. So even though I do not have the full question, I don't believe it should be voted. I believe you should vote no on ballot question number 4. The town council recently has had a couple of discussions on changing the state flag. I don't think there's any reason to change the state flag. It has a picture of an Indian, which recognizes, you know, in Massachusetts who really owned the land and who really was before the European settlers. The picture is not warlike, in my opinion. And the commission that was appointed by Governor Baker is just a commission that has already made up its mind to reject the state flag as it is and go to some innocuous other design. Right now, the commission is to expire on the end of December, and they've already spent quite a bit of money. And in the economic bill that is stalled in the Senate and the House of Representatives, there is a provision to renew the commission beyond the end of December, and a provision to fund them for another $100,000. You know, I was watching a while ago the Yankees, and to my surprise, I haven't been following baseball and the Cleveland Indians that closely, and was shocked to find out that the Yankees, the New York Yankees, were playing the Cleveland Guardians. The Cleveland Guardians. I think that's, first of all, a terrible name. You know, what do we have? Space people protecting Cleveland now? I mean, who in the world are the Guardians? Are they, you know, does Cleveland have a step parent now appointed to protect all the citizens of Cleveland by the court? And so now we have guardians appointed in Cleveland. You know, the Washington Redskins changed their name. I'm not sure what they changed it to. And I have sympathy in changing those names. I do think that we do need to look at sports teams that want to present Native Americans only as a warlike individuals or culture. The state flag doesn't do that. You know, no way would you really recognize that as in my opinion, warlike. One of the interesting things is, to me, say the commission. First of all, the commission. I don't know who makes the final decision. I don't know whether it's the commission that makes the final decision. I don't know whether it's the governor that appointed him makes the final decision. So I'm unaware who makes the final decision. First of all, okay, you can bet that we, the voters of Massachusetts, are never going to make the final decision. That's not going to be in our hands. One of the other interesting things is here all of a sudden the state flag issue seems to be a problem, right? You know, we're paying all this attention to this non-existent problem. See this nice suit that I'm wearing? Right. You know, I had to buy a suit for an occasion that I was going to. $200. And that was a cheap suit. I mean, $200 for the suit. You know, the shirt with the you know, cufflinks, which I always love, haven't owned for years and years, right? You know, that cost me $55. But the suit cost me $200. When I go to pay for the suit, there's a sales tax. And I say, what in the world, why are you charging me a sales tax? Well, Mr. Palvey, anything over $175 in clothing, you have to pay a sales tax. What? Why isn't that a problem? We need to raise on clothing, what, $400 or $500 to be the amount before a sales tax kicks in? I'm sure kids' winter coats could cost more than $175. You know, a winter jacket could cost more than $175. A pair of shoes could cost more than $175. That's a problem, okay? You know, that's something we ought to address and take care of. Railroad stations, downtown Franklin, right? Not handicapped accessible. That's a problem. We ought to address that and take care of it, right? If you're coming south on 495 to get on Route 290, the traffic can be backed up 3-4 miles. That's a problem, right? That we need to take care of and solve. We have the oldest women's prison in Framingham than any prison in the United States of America. That's a problem. We have enough money that we could build a new prison and pay for it. You know, there are more nuts and bolts issues, right? The MBTA, you know, that's a problem that we are incapable of solving or don't want to solve. We have nuts and bolts issues today, okay, that our attention needs to be addressing those problems. The state flag is not a problem. The state flag ought to stay the way it is before we create a state flag that we are embarrassed by. Well, I hope to see you at the polls on November 8th. Starting October 22nd, you were able to go to the town clerk's office and vote in person there. You only have to November 1st to return a request to have a mail-in ballot. And on February 8th, Tuesday, we can see you at the Franklin High School Gymnasium between 6 and 8 p.m. at night to go ahead and vote. Well, this is Frank Falvey with Frank's Musings, and you know you're always welcome to come down to the Franklin Cable TV station if you want to do a show or do a presentation. Thank you for watching.
This program was made possible by your Franklin friends and neighbors, good folks just like you. Thanks for supporting Franklin TV. And thanks for watching.